बुक। हेलो, आवाज ही नहीं आ रही। हेलो, अरे कोहली जी आइए। तुम ही प्रिंट करके दोगे। हेलो हेलो, आ रही आवाज? तो पहले कुछ पढ़ लेते हैं, देन विल डिस्कस द क्वेश्चंस। पहले कुछ पढ़ लेते हैं, ठीक है। तो कहां तक हमने पढ़ा था? इंडियन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम्स, आरबीआई फंक्शंस नहीं करा है ना? हाँ, फंक्शंस ऑफ आरबीआई। फर्स्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी। फर्स्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी तो आप पढ़ चुके हो, राइट? फर्स्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी। See, I will be discussing the functions here, but you also need to study from that book detail, क्योंकि this is important for your prelims point of view. ठीक? Yes. It is now available on Flipkart, Amazon, Kumar book, हर जगह available. क्लास में नहीं बांटी। SR Private Limited has nothing to do with that Indian economy book of Vivek Singh. Totally independent business entities. पढ़ लेते हैं, फिर विल डिस्कस दिस। दिस वाज ओल्ड एडिशन। सो फर्स्ट इज मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, विच यू हैव ऑलरेडी रेड इन डिटेल। सेकेंड, आप कुछ कुछ लिखते जाए एंड आई विल कीप ऑन एक्सप्लेनिंग। सो फर्स्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, सेकेंड रेगुलेशन एंड सुपरविजन ऑफ banking and non-banking, regulation and supervision of banking and non-banking financial institutions. Regulation and supervision of banking. So you understand we have two categories of financial institutions, banks and non-banks, and both are regulated by RBI. And non-banks are also regulated by RBI. ठीक है. Now in banks, so for example, banks के case में what RBI regulates? Every bank has to keep CRR and SLR, and the banks need to keep CRR and SLR. If any bank wants to open a new branch, close a branch, winding up of bank, merger of banks, know your customer, ठीक है, all these are regulatory functions of RBI. Prompt corrective actions पढ़ा है? हाँ, तो prompt corrective action is a supervisory function of RBI. आप लिखा है इसमें regulation and supervision. तो regulation में CRR, SLR, merger, closure and opening of branch, and supervision में prompt corrective action. Plus RBI also keeps a check on what is the value of NPA of all those banks. So when the NPA of any bank is increasing, RBI keeps a check on that also. Now in NBFCs also, if any NBFC or non-banking financial institution they want to function, they need to get permission from RBI. Some NBFCs are also required to have certain level of capital that is also regulated by RBI. So RBI is regulating banks and non-banks both. Next, ये हमने बताया था ना? हाँ, I said that all the finance related companies you can categorize under banks and non-banks, but for those companies where we have a separate regulatory body, for example insurance, SEBI, those are not regulated by RBI, those are regulated by those separate regulatory institutions. Earlier it was dual regulations, so to remove that, now certain institutions, financial institutions, NBFCs, where we have already a regulatory body, they are not regulated by RBI, they are regulated by that separate body. ठीक है. Next, banker to government. Banker to government. Banker to government means जैसे Axis Bank is a banker to SR Private Limited. Axis Bank is a banker to SR Private Limited. So what Axis Bank is doing? Axis Bank is receiving money on behalf of SR Private Limited. When you pay fees, Axis Bank receives money on behalf of SR Private Limited. If SR Private Limited has to make payment for rent or other things, then Axis Bank makes payment on behalf of SR Private Limited. So banker to banks में RBI is acting as a banker to government. So RBI is receiving money on behalf of government from the general public. So when you pay tax, RBI receives the money as a banker to government, and if government has to pay for certain thing for any project, then the check is issued from RBI. So RBI is acting as a banker to government. It is receiving money from the government. It is receiving money from the public on behalf of government, and it pays also money on behalf of government. तो एक तो ये है banker to government में. The other is RBI provides loan to government. RBI provides loan to government, ways and means advance. Ways and when government wants money, government can take loan from RBI through ways and means advance for temporary purpose. Long term, RBI doesn't give loan to RBI. See what happens. This year fiscal deficit is around 6.24 lakh crore, 3.4%. So this 6.24 lakh crore is the deficit government will borrow, but this government cannot borrow from RBI. Now RBI government cannot borrow. It has been restricted under FRBM Act. We will be discussing in detail. So this money RBI cannot borrow, but for temporary purpose, RBI government can take loan from RBI. Why it can't borrow, why it has been stopped, that will be discussing in detail under FRBM. So as such, long term government cannot borrow from RBI, but for short term temporary purpose, government can take loan from RBI, and that is called ways and means advance. ठीक है. So these are banker to government. Then banker to central government and state government both लिख लो आप. Banker to government of India and state government. दोनों. Banker to government of India and state government. And government has accounts also with RBI, Consolidated Fund of India, Public Account of India and Contingency Fund of India. ठीक है. Then you write regulation and regulation of government securities market. Regulation of government securities market, comma, forex market. Regulation of government securities market, forex market, comma, money market. मनी मार्केट आप समझे हो, है ना, ट्रांसमिशन. मनी मार्केट. सो मनी मार्केट में सपोज वन पर्टिकुलर इंस्टीट्यूशन वांट्स टू ट्रेड, इट नीड्स टू टेक परमिशन फ्रॉम आरबीआई. मनी मार्केट व्हिच इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स विल बी अलाउड टू ट्रेड, that is regulated by RBI. So money market trading rules, regulations, institutions who will be trading, that is all regulated by RBI. In the similar way, we have a government securities market also. See, money market we are trading all kinds of debt securities, less than 1 year mature. There is an online government securities market where only government bonds are traded, and you can also purchase that bonds. You may not have purchased till now, but you can create an online account and you can purchase government securities also under government securities market. So three markets, this forex, government security and money market, regulated by RBI, and SEBI regulated by, capital markets regulated by SEBI. ठीक है. Forex market, now Forex market, so what is happening in Forex market? Foreign currencies are being traded with rupees. Foreign currency, important foreign currencies like dollar, euro, we allow trading of these currencies in this Indian Forex market. So a lot of investors are coming here and selling. Suppose you want to do Forex trading, then you will have to take permission through RBI basically. So anyone can do Forex trading. Forex trading in the sense, suppose I think that rupee is going to depreciate in future. Rupee is going to depreciate in future. Right now $1 is equal to rupees 70 and it is going to depreciate to 75. Then it may be possible that I will purchase dollars today by paying rupees 70, and when it will depreciate, then I can convert, then I will gain. So all this trading activities, timing, who will be allowed, not allowed, which currencies, it is all regulated by RBI. Mainly some major currencies, euro, dollar, are traded with rupee, and through this rate that exchange rate is published. When we have allowed trading, there is a rate discovered every time, and that rate is published in your newspaper. Suppose you don't have any Forex market, then how will you know that exchange rate? So this market discovers that which exchange rate, PPP or nominal? Nominal. So RBI is regulating three markets: Forex market, government securities market, and money market. Money market and government securities market both have bonds only. A kind of similar, but money market may all companies bonds are traded. In government securities only government bonds are traded. ठीक है. Then next, banker to banks. Banker to banks. So banker to banks, what RBI does? RBI has account of all the banks. Huh? RBI has account of all banks. Banks can take loan from RBI. Banks can keep money with RBI. So every bank needs to keep CRR, right? This is a function of banker to banks or regulation of banks. देखो, there are two functions. Regulation of banks एक function you have read, ठीक है? Regulation, supervision of banks, and then other function is banker to banks. So when RBI is asking banks to keep CRR, it will come under which function of RBI? Regulation of bank or banker to bank? Regulation of bank. So when RBI is saying that you have to keep 4%, this is regulation of bank, and when banks are opening account with RBI to keep this, then that is banker to bank. ठीक है. And then one important function under this banker to bank is lender of last resort. Lender of last resort. Lender of last resort means if banks are not able to perform because of liquidity crisis, then RBI will come to the rescue of those banks. Not in case of bankruptcy, but in case of liquidity crisis, and there is a difference between these two. Next, current account and capital account management. Current account and capital account management.
In case of liquidity crisis, also we see limit the key right? RBI
Lender of last resort. ध्यान सुनना. Lender of last resort is a different thing, and resolving liquidity is a different thing. जैसे money market, if there is a problem of liquidity, then RBI can pump more money into the money market, but it is not giving this money to any single entity. It is in general increasing the money into the money market. And lender of last resort may RBI gives funds to one specific bank. Suppose Axis Bank, there is a major liquidity crisis, a lot of depositors rush to the bank withdrawing money. Then in that case, RBI may come to the rescue of Axis Bank. It may provide liquidity to the Axis Bank exclusively. That is lender of last resort. नहीं, MSF तो जनरल टूल है फॉर ओवरनाइट पर्पस. Any bank can take loan at MSF rate, which is 0.25 above repo rate. तो ये तो जनरल हो गया in case of emergency situation. But generally banks take this thing. Lender of last resort is quite extreme case. To maintain reserve, they can take at MSF or this repo rate. Lender of last resort means they have cash problem, they are not able to pay to the depositor. Then in that case, RBI may provide cash to the liquidity to the banks. Can RBI act as lender of last resort for NBFCs also?
Yes, sir.
It is nowhere written in RBI's documents that RBI will act as lender of last resort for NBFC. Everywhere it is written that RBI will act as lender of last resort for banks only. But during this ILFS crisis, your governor clarified that RBI may act as lender of last resort for NBFCs also. For NBFCs also. No, it's not exception. See, it is nowhere written in RBI Act that RBI can't do NBFCs, but they have ignored this statement as such. So your governor has clarified that in case of liquidity problem, RBI can act as lender of last resort for NBFCs also. No, RBI Act don't need to be amended for this because all these functions are not written as such detailed in RBI Act. Then next, अच्छा current account and capital account management लिखे, हाँ मैंने बोला था current account and capital account management लिख लियो ना. Now this you will be discussing detail under balance of payment. This will be discussing in detail under balance of payment. Then foreign exchange reserve management. Then foreign exchange reserve management. Now foreign exchange reserve, you remember that demonetization ka, how this money was flowing. Demonetization ka, we took an example, na, flow of money from individual to banks, banks to RBI. So what was the monetary base? What was the monetary base? Huh? What was the monetary base? क्वेश्चन पूछने से पहले ही ऐसे कर देते हो. हाँ, व्हाट वाज द मॉनेटरी बेस? डरो नहीं, क्वेश्चन से पहले ही हमने जो एग्जांपल लिया था ना इन डिमोनेटाइजेशन का एग्जांपल यू रिमेंबर ना? You see your notes. कितना था? 500. क्या था 500? एंड मनी सप्लाई रिड्यूस हो गया था. सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन मॉनेटरी बेस एंड मनी सप्लाई ना. ये याद करके आना है. दैट इज व्हाई आई विल बी टेकिंग रेगुलर क्लासेस ऑफ इकोनॉमी फ्रॉम थर्सडे. ठीक है. So forex reserve management, in that example our forex was this dollar and gold. So RBI is having how much forex right now? Around $400 billion. है ना? RBI has around $400 billion. So that $400 billion, do you think that RBI is keeping in its vault or locker? $400 billion, what RBI is doing? RBI is having $400 billion. What RBI is doing with that dollars? With that dollars, it has purchased US government bonds and it is earning interest. With that dollars, it has given loan to other central banks and it is earning interest. So management of foreign exchange reserve, there are two things. RBI manages this forex reserve $400 billion in such a way so that it gives maximum return at the least risk. So while, just say if you have some 2 crore money, and if I ask that how you are managing that, how you are managing means how you are investing and how you are earning return on that. So RBI tries to manage the forex so that it earns maximum return at the least risk, and whatever is the return that RBI pays as dividend to the government of India. RBI is every year profitable. RBI is every year profitable. Why? Right. RBI you may have seen here. Here we had forex dollar, and here it was currency held by public. So on the liability side, that 100 rupees will remain 100, but here whatever is the forex dollar, they have purchased US government bonds and they are earning interest on this. समझ गए सब लोग ये? Recent crisis. जो recent I have explained this RBI and government tussle or not? अच्छा, तो tussle तो we will discuss it. The tussle was, see, you are understanding that how RBI is profitable. Okay. So this profit since last 4-5 years, RBI was giving all the profit as dividend to government of India. All the profit RBI was already giving to its owners. Then what was the tussle? The tussle was government, see, if RBI is profitable, either it can give back to the owners as dividend, or it can keep it, or it can invest. Now, earlier, whatever was the profit of RBI, it was accumulating it and giving less dividend. So there is huge accumulated profit. But since last 4 years, RBI was giving all the profit as dividend. Now this government wanted the previous accumulated profit also as dividend. Whatever annual profits was there, that RBI was already transferring since last 4-5 years. But whatever was the earlier accumulated profit with RBI, some part of that government also wanted. So there was a tussle. So we have appointed a committee, and that committee will decide that how much profit it needs to keep and how much profit it needs to give. And that committee is being headed by Bimal Jalan. ठीक है, next. वो RBI, whatever RBI is having, RBI is free to invest it in any ways. कर सकता, हाँ. It may, yes, it may, but generally it is profitable because liability side देना नहीं है, assets पे if its earning may be less, or but it generally invests in risk free and fixed return securities. Next, debt management of government and state government. Debt management of government and state government. Debt management of government of India and state government. So debt management means this year government is borrowing 6.24 lakh. So when I say that government is borrowing, government appoints RBI that you borrow money on my behalf. Suppose when a company is issuing its IPO or issuing bonds in the capital markets, company itself doesn't do it, hires merchant bankers. It hires, it's a proper procedure, companies are not expert in this. So companies appoint other merchant bankers to raise money for them either through shares or bonds. So in case of government, if government wants to raise loan, government asks RBI that you raise loan on my behalf. So government manages all this issuance of bonds, on behalf of government. So government gets them. So RBI is the debt manager of central government and state government. So this 60.24 lakh crore, whatever RBI has to borrow, whatever government has to borrow, RBI arranges all that funds from the markets, but RBI doesn't directly give loan to government. RBI manages raising of loan on behalf of government, but RBI doesn't give direct loan to government. एक बार आप शेयर में ट्रेडिंग करो समझ जाओगे आप हाउ इट डज दैट. वो टाइम डिसाइड करता है कितने का बॉन्ड इशू होना चाहिए, व्हाट विल बी द इंटरेस्ट रेट, इट इन्फॉर्म्स टू द जनरल पब्लिक ऑन द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट एंड इट इज ट्राइज. इट्स प्रॉपर प्रोसीजर फॉर दैट, ऑपरेशनल प्रोसीजर. यू डोंट नीड टू, यू आर नॉट सपोज टू नो दिस. ठीक करना है तो हम फिस्कल डेफिसिट में डिटेल में समझेंगे कैसे ठीक हो सकता है. फिस्कल डेफिसिट इसी पे चैप्टर है. सो विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन डिटेल कि फिस्कल डेफिसिट, गवर्नमेंट लोन, व्हाट इट डज, कितना लेना चाहिए नहीं लेना चाहिए, ऑल दिस थिंग्स विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन डिटेल. नेक्स्ट, issuer of currency. Issuer of currency. Now issuer of currency, so every year our output is increasing, RBI is pumping more money. This issuer of currency is basically an operational function. So as per the GDP, RBI decides that how much money should be pumped, but that printing and distribution all over India, that is managed also by RBI. So RBI has around 19 chests where it prints money and keeps it, and from that every bank to every bank it is distributed. So it is basically an operational function. Issuer of currency means printing and distribution of currency. Then next, research and development. Research and statistics likho. Research and statistics. Research and statistics. So RBI, under this function, RBI publishes 2 reports annually. First is annual report of RBI. So when the annual report of RBI comes, it is from which period to which period? 1st June to 30th July. 1st July to 30th June. 1st July to 30th June, the annual report. And so RBI publishes 2 reports. One is annual report, and the other is a report on trends and progress of banking in India. Report on trends and progress of banking in India. Report on trends and progress of banking in India. ठीक है. Then next, developmental role. Developmental role. So फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी रिपोर्ट भी आती है. बट अच्छा, these 2 reports RBI is bound to publish under statutory जो laws है ना, under RBI Act, RBI is bound to publish these 2 reports. Otherwise RBI keeps on doing research on the economy also. It also projects the growth of economy. It also, RBI also projects that at what rate India will go. So RBI keeps on doing various research, it keeps on publishing report, but these 2 reports RBI is bound to legally publish. Last is developmental role. Developmental role. Now under developmental role, RBI has launched 3 schemes. Under developmental role function, RBI has launched 3 schemes. The first is priority sector lending. First is priority sector lending. So which sectors we declare as priority sectors? So example, those sectors which are more employment generative, those sectors we are impacting a larger section of the population, those sectors which are socially quite important. So those sectors we have declared as priority sector, and every bank need to give 40% of their total lending to priority sector. ध्यान सुनना आप. All the banks, commercial banks, need to give 40% to priority sectors. Regional rural banks and finance bank, small finance bank, they need to give 75% to priority sector. Regional rural bank and small finance banks should give 75% to priority sector. हाँ, इसलिए तो एक्सेप्ट बताया ना. RRB should give 75%, small finance bank should give 75%, or the commercial bank should give 40% to priority sector. The following are the priority sectors: agriculture, education, agriculture, education, housing, agriculture, education, housing, export credit, micro, small and medium enterprises, export credit, micro, small and medium enterprises, social infrastructure, social infrastructure means basic health, school facility, social infrastructure. Then renewable energy, others. Others में they have just written poor sections of the society. So agriculture कितना हुआ है? 9. It should be 9. Others is also one category. Agriculture, education, housing, export credit, micro, small, medium, social infrastructure, renewable energy, others. काफी हो गया. These are the sectors. Housing is under priority sector, but that doesn't mean कि you are building a 1 crore villa and you will get. So there are limitations on all this. Housing sector, RBI है, देखो, either education. Now you cannot take priority sector lending for Howard, going to Howard. ठीक. So housing के लिए again there is a limit, that what is the value of the house. For if banks are giving loan to villas also, for villas also, and banks are giving loan for normal houses till maybe 10-15 lakhs, there is a cap for everything. So if bank gave to a person for villa construction, then that bank cannot say that कि I have given lending for priority sector. So there are limits for that. Next scheme in, see, there are, I said there are 3 schemes under developmental function. Next scheme is Kisan Credit Card. 20 branches पे 20 branches लिस्ट हैं, उनके लिए अलग है, ठीक है. वो ब्रांच याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं कि 20 ब्रांच से कितनी. Next scheme under this developmental role is Kisan Credit Card. So farmers need to be provided Kisan Credit Card. Through that they can access loan credit for agriculture purpose also and for consumption needs also. For short term loan also, for long term loan also, for purchase of tractor also, for owner farmers also, and for tenant farmers also.
But there is a limit on these cards.
Yes, the limit, how much you can withdraw, the limit is based as per the operational holding, whatever is your land holding, based on that they will provide you this limit. And for tenant farmers, if you have only if you have formal tenancy agreement, land leasing agreement, then only you can get Kisan credit card also. But in India generally owners have got, because no one has this formal tenancy agreement, but otherwise it is Kisan credit card is applicable to tenants also. Earlier इसमें for daily consumption needs loan was not allowed, but now RBI has added this thing. Achha, this food processing sector has also been added under priority sector, but it is not a separate category. It comes under agriculture only. Agriculture. So out of the total 40% lending, 18% is for agriculture. So if a bank gave loan for food processing industry, then it can classify that we have given loan under the agriculture limit. फूड प्रोसेसिंग में भी उसमें लिमिट है फिर अगेन एमएसएमई से रिलेटेड. देन लास्ट स्कीम इज which one? Lead bank scheme. Lead bank scheme. हाउसिंग के कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड परचेज पे बोथ फेज. लीड बैंक स्कीम, लीड बैंक स्कीम आप सुन लो 2 मिनट. इट वाज लॉन्च्ड इन 1969 ड्यूरिंग इंदिरा गांधी रिजीम. ठीक है. नाउ 1969 और चेक इट इन द बुक 1969 है ना. 1969 किसकी गवर्नमेंट थी? तो आप पॉलिटिक्स पे ध्यान रखना. इंदिरा गांधी रिजीम. They launched this lead bank scheme, and the purpose was, so RBI has declared one bank in every district as a lead bank. So in one district there can be several banks. RBI has declared one bank as lead bank, and all lead banks are basically public sector banks only. So in every district, whatever is the public sector bank which has more branches, we have RBI has declared as lead bank. And what responsibilities have been assigned on lead bank? The lead bank will be responsible to assessing the deposit potential in that area. Deposit potential in that area means if that area's total savings is more and number of depositors or total deposit is less, then this is the task of the lead bank to assess that what is the total deposit potential in that area, but how much deposits are coming. It is the responsibility of the lead bank that what is the credit gap in the society, in the district, so that based on that, this information we can frame other policy or it can be provided to other banks. So RBI regulates and supervises the banks, but since they didn't have that much of resources, so RBI declared one bank as lead bank, and then it gave certain extra responsibilities regarding assessing the market, regarding deposit potential, credit gap. And this information, once collected by the lead bank, is provided to RBI, and then they can take this information for their other policy purpose. ठीक है. For example, I said कि deposit potential. Suppose the deposit potential is huge, but that much deposit is not coming to the bank because of any reason. Public is not opening branches or public is not opening accounts or this thing. If this information RBI comes to know, then RBI may ask other banks or it allow other banks to open new branches more. So RBI gave an additional responsibility task to the lead bank declared in that district, and almost all lead banks are public sector banks only. I think one bank has been declared as private, but it has also been declared as lead bank, but mainly it is public sector banks. ठीक है. So 1 or 2 functions that you have not read, we will be discussing in BOP in detail. ठीक है. Current account and capital account management. वो डिस्कस करेंगे तब समझ जाओगे आप. अभी वो RBI tussle between RBI and government that I need to discuss. ठीक है. अच्छा अभी डिस्कस करते हैं कि वो तो डिस्कस करना ही पड़ेगा. peer-to-peer lending बनाते हैं because it is a new class of institutions which RBI has launched. So last year, we have NBFCs. RBI gave licenses for a new class of NBFCs called peer-to-peer lender. Now, some of you may not be able to appreciate that what was the purpose for this, but there was a demand for this, so RBI has allowed that class of institutions also. So some of you may be thinking that, sir, what is the need for Azadpur Mandi? या नहीं सोचते ऐसा? जरूरत है क्या उसकी? आपको क्या जरूरत है? वहीं से आ रहा है ना, तो जरूरत है. But there are lot of markets जो लोग और लोग यूज कर रहे हैं. You don't know about this, so you may feel कि जैसे आपको ये नहीं फील होता कि सर मनी मार्केट की क्या जरूरत है, फॉरेक्स मार्केट की क्या. So there are things evolving, and there was demand for a new class of NBFC. So RBI is given permission. Let's see ki how that demand picks up and how it works in that system. So RBI allows a new class of NBFC, peer-to-peer lender. So what happens in peer-to-peer lender? Suppose I opened a peer-to-peer lending NBFC company. So peer-to-peer lender are basically a class of NBFCs. So I opened a peer-to-peer company, NBFC. So what I will do, suppose this class of people, they have enough money with them, and this class of people, they want money. So I created an online platform like Facebook or Twitter. I created an online platform, and I connected to you also, and I connected to you also. I created a platform, and I reached to a lot of people and asked them to connect on my platform. So all of you are connected. Now this class of people have money, and this class of people want money. Now on this platform, you all can connect each other. You all can connect each other. So if he connected and you started talking to him, or you can see that basically if you want to borrow money, you can see that all the people profile who want to lend money, and all those people who want to lend money, they can see the profile of those people who are borrowing. So you can connect anyone on social platform, online platform, and you can mutually decide that how much money you would like to lend at what interest rate. There are limits when you have started ki maximum 1 lakh or 10 lakh, but limits are starting. But you can, the interest rate will be mutually decided, how much money you will be lending and you will be taking, that will be mutually decided. This platform, this company, peer-to-peer, is just providing a platform. The interest rate, the amount will be decided by you, but you can't lend this on cash. They will give it to the company, and company will give it to you. When you will be paying interest or principal, you will pay to the company, and company will pay it to them. And for this, the company will deduct certain charges. Company will deduct as certain charges, and if they lent, you took money and defaulted, company will not guarantee, company will not give credit guarantee. Company will not protect your risk, company will not give guarantee. Company cannot give guarantee basically. And it is collateral free lending. It is collateral free lending.
So, but when certain amount is going to the company, then why?
Just charges. Whatever you lend, na, company for providing this platform is deducting certain charges, and what is the charges you all will be knowing. Basically, you have to pay the charges. Those who are borrowing, you will be paying interest, and certain charges will be paying, you will be paying to the company. तो इसीलिए बोले डिस्क्लेमर तो हमने पहले दिया था ना. यू मे बी थिंकिंग कि इसकी क्या जरूरत है और क्या होगा इसका, बट वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स हैव ओपन्ड अ कंपनी. If any one of you have enough money, you can lend on that platform, and the name is i2ifunding.com. And then I called one day and I asked कि यार इसमें कौन lend करे, it's very risky. So he said कि बहुत demand है इंडिया में. इंडिया में every कुछ भी आप create करो, there is always a demand. So but the interest rate, I checked on that i2ifunding.com. The interest rate varies from 10-11% to 27%. 27% because more risky. But still people are willing to, and may not be totally unknown, but maybe long friends, relatives or something, they are trying to lend through this. Isn't it?
Returning back to the money lending system.
So it's a kind of that only. It's kind of, see, in normal NBFC what is happening? They are borrowing from banks and then they are lending. Here the company just created a platform. You are basically lending, company just facilitating. You mutually coordinated, you discuss the interest rate, you discuss the amount. Company just provided a platform.
In rural areas or somewhere, like we are trying to, reduce this kind of lending things, like meter interest or whatever can be good for exorbitant interest rates.
Right.
One way we are trying to,
So this is a extra platform. If someone wants, in rural areas, we don't have financial inclusion, that much of financial branches, and money lenders are exploiting people. Money lenders are exploiting people. This platform is on addition to that. If someone wants, suppose bank is offering 7% interest rate. Bank is offering 7% interest rate. And if on that online platform I can give money at 12%, then don't you think that why RBI should restrict this? If someone is willing to take money, because banks ke saath it takes time to process do all this processing. So if there is a demand for that, RBI has allowed this thing, and that's why I said ki let's see ki how it develops in India. Money laundering का कैसे source है? अच्छा, how will you lend? You should have money in your account. हाँ? पहले ही मैंने बोला ना, आप सुने नहीं? It will always be through online, no cash. No. हाँ हाँ. But if you are lending, you will be lending through your account. Yes, it is necessary. No cash permitted.
Sir, who will deny this that no cash permitted if the person who is lending is interested in taking cash, then why like?
Okay, so it's like you both connected on Facebook and then you started dealing in cash. That is possible. Then that is not basically, see what that is always possible. What I am trying to say is RBI has created this class of institution. Now if I am creating a company, I can allow people to access my platform, to give loan and to invest money at interest rate and to borrow money. Because there are, see, you try to understand one thing, in India, there are a lot of people who want to earn more interest rate. Okay. And there are a lot of people who are in need of money, but banks are taking time or banks are not willing. So we are just trying to connect two class of people through this platform. इसमें प्रॉब्लम किसको ये बताओ? Why we should deny this thing? Why we should deny this thing? So when you know that you are lending to someone else whom you don't know, you are taking this risk. See, try to understand one thing. If I am keeping money at bank at 7%, suppose I want to earn 10%, 12%, 15%, and there are people who are willing to pay 12%, why our government should restrict it? Why our government should restrict it? If I don't have any problem in lending and someone don't have any problem in borrowing, then why we should restrict it? The question is this.
There will be debtors who will not pay.
हाँ.
I'm saying, sir, recently what are doing the Tata Fund and all these cheat fund companies, the public money is being like lent.
So here, that what RBI is saying, that there will be a disclaimer that there will be no guarantee of money. The default will be totally at your end. ऐसे तो आप शेयर में लगाते हो, शेयर डूब जाता है, then so should we allow it or not? हाँ.
But these kind of institutionalized things without any deterrence, they are bound to fail.
See, they are not bound to fail. That you are not getting. That's why I said ki we have moved forward. There are a lot of demand for this kind of investment and borrowing. You may not be understanding the demand for this.
Yes, sir, but
So that's why when we have allowed this, we have restricted this activity to 1 lakh. See the limit what RBI has done right now. Limit बताओ कितना है? How much one person can lend? उसमें book में हमने लिखा होगा. So with very small amount, we have started this thing. See, आप समझने की कोशिश कर नहीं रहे हो. If there are two people, one is willing to lend and the other is willing to borrow, why we should not have that freedom? And when the person is borrowing, he very well knows that, or when the person is lending, he knows that this is totally the risk of that person. Why we should restrict it?
There is a contradiction on the end of the government. At one side, the government is saying that they will eliminate the money lender concept where the people are being exploited by the money lender. At one side, we are promoting the money lender.
अरे don't you तो आप समझ, don't you think that NBFCs are exploiting the people?
So, in this way, the agreement is exploited.
हाँ, then फिर this is a business opportunity. There was a demand for this class of investors, so we have given a permission. Let's see how this market develops, how many people default, what is the benefit of us. But why we should restrict? Why we should restrict this thing? And there are economic activity happening through this route also. Huh? Maybe. And lenders can see the personal profile of borrowers. Borrowers can't see the lender's profile, personal details of lenders. तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी है थ्रू एन ऑनलाइन मैकेनिज्म हो रहा है. दैट इसीलिए हमने पहले ही बोला था कि यू मे बी थिंकिंग, जैसे देखो आप, यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग. वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड, he left a 25 lakhs job to start this company. अब सोचो कि what he would have thought, he must have thought a great opportunity in this market. आपको लग रहा है कि अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है, किसी को लगता है बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी है. अगर आप दोनों लोग, एक लोग पैसा देने के लिए तैयार हो, एक लोग लेने के लिए तैयार हो, so let's check कि how this market develops in India. When I have already told कि this is an NBFC, of course this is regulated by RBI. जिसको थोड़ा डाउट है ना, 1 लाख रुपए उस I2I फंडिंग के थ्रू आप लेंड करो, ठीक है, you understand each and everything. हाँ हाँ केस तो आप फाइल कर सकते हो, केस आप फाइल कर सकते हो. इफ ही डिफॉल्ट, समवन डिफॉल्ट, तो आप कोर्ट में आए केस तो फाइल कर ही सकते हो. नो वन इज. फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट, बहुत सारे रिस्ट्रिक्शन हमने उस पर लगाए हुए हैं, ठीक है. एक्चुअली दी फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स हैव डेवलप्ड अ लॉट, और आप लोग अभी यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो. यू मे नॉट अप्रिशिएट अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स राइट नाउ, यू मे नॉट अप्रिशिएट a lot of things, but we are moving quite fast forward in case of financial technologies. A lot of new products are coming in. So at this point of time, you may not appreciate those products, but at a later stage, when you also be dealing with that.
So, but isn't it like we are getting all the things which are American used to have?
क्यों प्रॉब्लम है अमेरिकन से? लाओ.
No, but without having
ये लेक्चर प्लान है. अरे if we are if we are poor, that doesn't mean कि we should put everything only for school and infrastructure.
Means institutions like proper institutions for everything, then we should set up like rules, regulations.
There is no point in waiting for other things to be developed and then we should try this NBFC peer-to-peer lending. नहीं, एक लाख देना, वो सब रटने की जरूरत नहीं. दिस इज फॉर द बुक. तो मैं इंफॉर्मेशन आपको दिया, बट याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. All these एक restriction, but 2-3 important points you must remember. Cash is not allowed. Then the company can't give guarantee that your money will be returned. ये दो चीज आपको ध्यान रखना है. And interest rate is mutually decided. Company has no role in this. Foreign investment. What do you understand by foreign investment? क्या कराना है? डिमोनेटाइजेशन आप नहीं आए थे क्या? हुआ नहीं हुआ? डिमोनेटाइजेशन नहीं हुआ है? डिमोनेटाइजेशन हो चुका है. मैं पूछ नहीं रहा हूं, बता रहा हूं. हाँ, नोट्स नोट्स हो चुका है. Without demonetization, I can't teach this. I know this thing. हाँ वही था, और क्या था? वही था. नहीं तो और क्या है डिमोनेटाइजेशन? नहीं, और क्या था डिमोनेटाइजेशन? What else do you want to know in demonetization? हाँ, मनी सर्कुलेशन, व्हाट डिमोनेटाइजेशन हैपेंड, उससे लायबिलिटीज कैसे रिड्यूस हुई, ये पढ़े हो आप ना? हाँ, देन व्हाट एल्स डू यू वांट टू नो इन डिमोनेटाइजेशन? और सम इंपैक्ट्स यू विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन टैक्स. आप डिमोनेटाइजेशन समझ चुके हो. फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट. So what do you understand by foreign investment? Any entity registered outside India investing money in a company or project registered inside India. Any company registered outside India putting money in a company registered inside India is called foreign investment. ठीक है? Now when I am saying कि any entity registered outside India, individuals can also invest. So foreign investment means any entity registered outside India or an individual investing money in a company registered inside India, either as debt or as equity. So investment means putting in money, and this money you can put in a company or project in two ways, either as a debt or as a equity. This is called foreign investment. All the foreign investment that India is getting, we can broadly classify into two parts: direct investment and portfolio investment. ठीक है? So let's understand in detail the difference between these two, because it is asked in prelims also and mains also. Primary market and secondary market, this concept is clear, है ना? And companies decision making, in any company the decision making body is board of directors, and they are appointed by this is the decision making body. They are appointed by the shareholders. An owner having more shareholding, he will appoint more directors. In proportion of the shareholders, They appoint the directors. If there is a company is small, it may be having just 2 directors. If a company is big, they can have 13 directors, 14 directors. So these directors are appointed by the shareholders, and this is the decision-making body. The CEO is the head. He executes that decisions basically, or small decisions he can take. Important decisions are taken by the board of directors. Now this difference is, समझते हो आप डिफरेंस? लिखा हुआ तो है ही, हमने डिटेल में अच्छे से लिखा हुआ है ना? तो जिसको लिखना लिख लेगा, but try to understand this concept. When a direct investor is coming in, अच्छा, before that this can be further broken into automatic and government approval. ठीक है, इसमें ऐसा कोई डिफरेंस नहीं. Automatic means they don't require permission, and government approval means they require government permission. That's all. तो further bifurcation की ऐसा जरूरत नहीं है. It is only at the operational level की certain cases में they require government approval, which is called government approval route, and certain cases it is automatic. Now 98% of the FDI which is coming into India is under automatic route. No approval is required. And in those cases where approval is required, which agency gives approval? Respective ministries gives approval. There is no separate agency for it. Earlier it was Foreign Investment Promotion Board, but now it is said that if FDI is coming, respective ministry, जिस ministry से related है, that ministry will give approval. If there is a confusion or if there doesn't exist a ministry, then in that case DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. So let's understand the difference between these two. If FDI, और concentrate करके सुना, जो doubt होगा आप वहीं पे पूछ लेना, ठीक है? When FDI investors are coming in, they can invest in India only through equity route, only through shares, and they can invest as equity and debt both. ठीक है? So FDI investors can purchase just shares, and they can purchase shares and bonds both. Suppose Reliance Industries Limited है, and Mukesh Ambani is the owner. He is owning 70%, and 30% secondary market में they are trading. ठीक है, they are trading. The company has issued 30% shares in the market, so they are trading among themselves, and his shares are not being traded primary market. His shares, holding these shares. If you want to purchase shares, आप यहाँ जाओगे and you can purchase shares. अच्छा, suppose SR Private Limited owned by Subra Ranjan, suppose 100%. If Subra Ranjan sells this SR Private Limited to you, you will have to pay money. So Subra Ranjan sold this SR Private Limited to you, you will give money. That money will go to Subra Ranjan or SR Private Limited? Decide कर लो पहले. She is saying right. Don't underestimate. Subra Ranjan owns SR Private Limited. Subra Ranjan sold this company to her. She paid money. That money will go to SR Private Limited or Subra Ranjan? Subra Ranjan. Otherwise, if she will pay money to SR Private Limited, SR Private Limited went to her, what Subra Ranjan go? So if I am selling my company to her, she will pay money to me, and now the company will belong to her. ठीक है, इसलिए अंडर एस्टिमेट नहीं करने का. But if SR Private Limited, right now it is owned by Subra Ranjan 100%. If you guys also want to become owner in SR Private Limited, suppose you want to become owner and company issued new shares to you. Company issued new shares to you, so you will have to pay money, and you will also become owner. In this case, money will go to Subramanian or SR Private Limited? SR Private Limited. ठीक है, ये एग्जाम्पल हमने लिया था ना शेयर्स और जब समझा था सिक्योरिटीज. In case of FDI investors, generally the company in India issues new shares to these investors. They put money, they give money to the company, and they also become the new owners, and money comes to the company. In FDI investors, company issues new shares, they give money to the company, and with that money, company invests into new projects. In case of portfolio investors, generally they come here in the secondary market, they purchase the shares from these investors. Who gets the money, the company or this investor? This investor. समझ गए ये step? So in case of FDI investors, generally the company issues new shares, money comes to the company, with that new money, company purchases equipment, invests into business. In case of portfolio investors, generally they come into secondary market. The owners change hands, one owner leaves, the portfolio investors become new owners, money doesn't come to the company. हमने ये सेग्रीगेट किया हुआ, अगर सेग्रीगेट सेकेंडरी मार्केट में परचेज करना है तो यू विल हैव टू कम एज एन एफपीआई इन्वेस्टर. भाई दोनों ही इन्वेस्टमेंट है, वी हैव जस्ट सेग्रीगेटेड कि इफ यू हैव टू कम दिस, दैट इज रूट विल बी कॉल्ड एफटीआई. सो पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टर्स जनरली कम इन सेकेंडरी मार्केट, but can they come in primary market? Yes, when the first time company is issuing shares at that IPO के time पे foreign portfolio investors can purchase the shares, that is primary market, and the money will go to the company, but it will happen once in a lifetime when the company is bringing its IPO. But otherwise every time portfolio investors will invest in the secondary market, owners will change hands, money doesn't come to the company. But FDI के case में generally company issues new shares, money comes to the company. Why I am saying generally? Because it may be possible that this FDI investor gave money to Mukesh Ambani sold all this ownership to this investor, money didn't come to the company. Complete acquisition में money doesn't come to the company. That can also be an FDI, but it rarely happens. Generally portfolio investors secondary market, FDI investors primary market. Repeat.
In which case the company does, the money doesn't come to the last.
हमने आपको ओवर एस्टिमेट तो नहीं किया, आपने तो सही आंसर बताया था. भाई अब रुको 5 मिनट आप. When FDI invest, both class of investors are coming to make money, but their target is different. When FDI investors are coming in, they target the profit of the company. When FDI investors are coming in, they generally purchase large shareholding. They get a chance to appoint board of directors. They get involved into the management of the company, and through their management and decision making, they make the company profitable. For example, if an FDI investor came, they purchase 51% ownership, they will appoint majority board of directors, and then they will say that now this company will import raw materials from this country, equipments from Germany rather than China. So direct investors generally they purchase large shareholdings, they appoint board of directors, they get involved into the decision making and management of the company, and through their decision making they make the company profitable, and when the company starts earning profit they get a chunk of the profit, a share of the profit. Portfolio investors, they generally come in the secondary market. They are not targeting the profit of the company, they generally come here, share price is low, they purchase the shares, after one moment share price is high, they will sell and return. But when FDI investors came to this market, their shares are not being traded. They cannot sell and return immediately. For example, if you are here, you can sell your shares any moment. Can Mukesh Ambani sell? No. If Mukesh Ambani wants to sell this, his shares are not traded, he will have to find a buyer. He will have to find the buyer other than the market. He will have to personally contact or make an advertisement that I am selling Reliance Industries 70%, who wants to purchase. जैसे सपोज एसआर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को इट वांट्स टू सेल दिस कंपनी टुडे, एक मोमेंट में सेल हो जाएगा नहीं, दे विल हैव टू फाइंड अ बायर. When portfolio investors come here, this is being traded every moment. They can sell any time and return. So if FDI investors have invested, portfolio investors have invested, and Rahul Gandhi becomes PM, they will sell immediately and return, but they can't sell immediately and return. This is long-term stable, this is short-term, it makes the exchange market volatile. Portfolio investors are in the secondary market, they can sell any time and return, they make the market volatile. When there was trade war situation going on this in October last year, a lot of portfolio investors sold here and they started returning. Then what happened? Rupee depreciated. October में rupee depreciate हुआ था ना, maximum that India has achieved till now 74 point something. It depreciated because of what reasons? One was oil price increase and the other was portfolio investors leaving. Portfolio investors leaving, जैसे एक objective question आता है. Rupee depreciated a lot in October 2018. The reasons were oil price highs. Second, FDI investors leaving the country. False. FDI investors in portfolio investors. FDI investors can't sell it easily as such. Because they are in the primary market, their shares are not being traded. So they are long-term stable. Long-term stable because when FDI investors are coming, they are targeting the profit of the company. Now in short term, they cannot make profit. They will have to stay long-term. But those who are here coming, they are not seeing the profit, they are just seeing the share price. So if the share price is up because of any reason, they can sell within 2 days, 3 days, 1 month and return. So portfolio investors make the market more volatile. समझ गए? When portfolio investors are coming in, they can purchase shares of any company. But when direct investors are coming in, suppose there is a steel company in US and they want to make FDI in India. They want to invest FDI in India, steel company in US. Now, do you think that that steel company from US will make FDI in India in a software firm or in a steel company? A steel company, because when they are investing it here, they are trying to make the company profitable through their decision making. Now, they cannot make Microsoft profitable or this Infosys profitable. They will look for the investment in the same sector. They will look for the investment in the same sector because they are targeting the profit of the company. Through their decision making, they have experience, they make the company profitable in the same sector. But if an insurance firm or any other firm is coming in through portfolio route, they are not looking for the profit. They can purchase shares of any company. If it is high, they will return. So we say that FDI sector is specific. They come in the same sector. And portfolio, they can come in any sector. Doesn't matter. They are not sector specific. अब जिसको डाउट पूछना वो पूछ सकता है. When SR Private Limited is bringing its IPO, if you guys purchased, you will purchase in primary market, secondary market. सुन लो मेरी बात question. If SR Private Limited is first time releasing its shares to you guys, this transaction primary market, secondary market? Primary market, IPO is primary market. So when SR Private Limited is registering on capital markets and it is bringing its IPO, at that time also some foreign portfolio investors can purchase. So they are purchasing primary or secondary? Primary. So sometimes FPI may be in primary, but generally they are in secondary, because FPI in primary it will happen once in a lifetime when the company is using its shares for the first time, but generally when they are daily coming, they are daily purchasing in the secondary market. So generally FPI is secondary market. क्यों? यहाँ पे shares when they are buying and selling from the company can issue bonds also, the company can issue shares also. There is secondary market for shares also, there is secondary market for bonds also. FPIs can purchase bonds also, FPIs can purchase shares also. जैसे if you want to purchase Reliance shares today, you can create a demat account and you can purchase Reliance shares. Who will get the money? Who will get the money? These owners. तो आपको कोई डाउट था ना? क्या डाउट है? किसको बताओ? जो भी डाउट है प्लीज पूछ लो आप लोग। आईपीओ, हाँ एफडीआई केस में भी हो सकता है, फिर वो ट्रेड नहीं होता उनका। लेकिन एफडीआई व्हाटएवर सेल्स दे परचेज, देयर इज अ लॉक इन पीरियड, बिलो दैट दे कैन नॉट सेल। When the first time company is releasing shares, of course FDI investors can purchase, but then those shares are not traded. Lock in period होता है। हाँ, there is a criteria that I will tell you. There is a criteria. Till whatever I explained, कोई doubt है तो you can tell me. Generally, why you have seen that FDI investment limits generally we change 24, 49, 51, 74. Why only in these ranges? Not why not 40, 60, 80? समझे सुने हो ना कि FDI limit hiked from 24 to 49 or 51. Why only in these numbers? Why not 40, 55, 60?
Indian owners के पास रहना चाहिए। शेयर उस हिसाब से डिसाइड होगी, 1/4 का माइनस।
In this, at this percentage, the chance to appoint board of directors change. The decision making in the company change. So suppose you purchase 30%, an FDI investor purchase 30% or 35%, doesn't matter. He may still get a chance to appoint just one board of directors. But when it changes from 24 to 40, 24 to 25 or 49 plus or 74, at this percentage, the chance to appoint board of directors changes. ठीक है? So, हाँ, that is you can say at a threshold. So at this percentage, so suppose you have 20% ownership, you may not appoint a board of directors or 23%, 24%. But just if you cross 24, you may get a chance to appoint one board of directors. So at this threshold, the chance to appoint one board of directors changes. So generally we change at this rate. But we can always change from 20 to 22, but it will not make much difference to FDI investors. हाँ, so हाँ, what I am saying is कि if government is changing the rule that FDI investment limit is hiked from 25 to 45, it may not make any difference in decision making. In decision making, does it make a difference? नहीं, because it may be possible that 25 पे you are getting one board of director appointment decision. In 45 also you are getting one. But when you cross 49, you may get appointment for two board of directors. So generally it changes at this range, at this level. And generally you have seen that this FDI limit is increased in step by step, not from 0% to 100% at one go. है ना? Follow 0, 24, 49. Why is this so? क्वेश्चन समझ में आया? नहीं आया? तो क्या कर रहे हो बैठ के फिर? लंच करके आप लोग रिलैक्स तो नहीं कर रहे हो ना? जैसे इतना एफर्ट ला के घर से आए, क्वेश्चन ही समझे, यू शुड हैव रेज्ड सर व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन। लेकिन रेज करने की हिम्मत तो तब होगी ना जब आप कॉन्सेंट्रेट करके सुने हो। जब सुने ही नहीं ध्यान से, कहीं दिमाग और था, तो हिम्मत ही नहीं होगा पूछने। माई क्वेश्चन इज कि वाई FDI लिमिट इज रेज्ड at step by step 0, 24, 49. Why not in one step? Just suppose FDI in insurance is 0%. That means no FDI allowed. Now government generally is not going to increase FDI limit from 0% to 100% in one step. It will increase to 24%, 49%. Why in step by step? Growth market.
effect of
अब सुनो ध्यान से, हो गया, ठीक है. So right now the FDI limit in insurance sector is 49%. Earlier in 1991 it was 0%, then we increased it to 24%, and BJP 5 years back increased, 4 years back increased 49%. The reason is, and same thing is happening in defense also. Earlier it was 0, then 24, 49, now it is 100. The reason is, like for example defense, we are importing 70-75% of our defense equipment requirements. 70-75% we are importing. Why? Because Indian domestic companies are not producing better equipments. That is the reason. Are not producing better equipments. वेब सीरीज देख रहे हो ना आजकल आप लोग कि नहीं? कालीन भैया, तो उसमें वो कट्टा मारते हैं, इधर जाता है उधर, हाथ लगता है, ठीक है. सो वी आर नॉट प्रोड्यूसिंग we are not producing better equipments, so that's why we are importing. ठीक है. Now if so our domestic companies are not producing better equipments. Now suppose earlier it was 0% FDI, now if in one step we increase from 0% to 100%, then it may be possible that foreign companies sets up their base here. They will own that company how much? 100%. They will produce state-of-the-art better equipments. They will start producing that, and Indian domestic companies will be wiped out because they have financial experience, they have financial resources, they have technical experience. They are already producing better products outside. They will set up base here. They will see an opportunity. They will start producing equipments here, and the domestic companies, they will be wiped out. But if we move from, suppose we move from 0 to 24%, then in that case, I am operating an Indian defense company as such, equipment company. It is not good, but FDI limit is allowed to 24%. Then that foreign investors may invest 24%. May invest 24% in my company. So ownership will be with me only because 76%. But they may appoint a director. They can get involved into the decision making. Now Indian company will also learn from their decision making. So we are getting money also, we are getting experience also. Then it is increased from 24 to 49 suppose. So they will invest 49% of the money. They will have more, they will have some directors here also. We will gain more experience, finance, technology. So if we increase to 24 in 5 years, then 49 in 10 years, then we will gain experience, we will gain technology, we will gain financial resources. But still the company here is owned by Indian. So there will be a learning curve. After that 10 years, if we allow 100% FDI, and even if they sets up 100% foreign company here, then at that time our defense companies will be able to compete with them. But if we will allow in one step, the Indian companies may be wiped out. And for a strategic sector like defense, we don't want that in India, all the companies owned by foreigners.
So after getting experience, we may decrease FDI to 10 years.
यही कुछ लोग बोलते हैं, दिमाग लगाने लगे. उनको ले आए, एक्सपीरियंस लिए और फिर डिक्रीज कर दिए, और फिर हम लोग इनएफिशिएंट बन गए, फिर बेकार प्रोड्यूस करेंगे. हम लोग ऐसे है ना, फिर से बेकार प्रोड्यूस करेंगे. हाँ, फिर यही करते रहे, और कोई काम नहीं है. ऑफ कोर्स उसमें मेंशन नहीं रहता होगा. all those agreements, those companies who are coming here, they should know the Indian laws before investing here. They check for these laws.
But if they allow 100% at
हाँ, तो if the sector is not very strategic or important, we may allow in one go, but the possibility will always be there that Indian companies may not remain. We don't want that. That's why we want in step by step. That's why generally we increase to in step by step. That is the reason. FDI happens in 3 routes. FDI happens through 3 routes. फर्स्ट इधर देख लो, बाद में डिस्कस कर लेना. इंडिया, यूएस, ठीक है. इन्फोसिस, Microsoft. If Microsoft purchases shares of Infosys, majority 30%, 40%, in the primary market, that means Infosys issues new shares and Microsoft purchases one company. You can also purchase Infosys shares and Microsoft can also, a company can also purchase other company's shares. So this is FDI because company issued new shares and this company purchased. This is called acquisition of shares. Acquisition of shares. That means FDI can happen by share purchase. Yes. In the secondary market, in the primary market. Second, if Infosys and Microsoft both thinks that India is a good growing market in software, then Infosys as a company and Microsoft as a company, they both jointly opened a new company here. Micro Infi क्या? Private Limited. ठीक है. So Micro Infi Private Limited is a joint venture company owned jointly by Infosys and Microsoft. ठीक है. So joint venture ठीक है. If SR Private Limited is issuing shares and you also purchase 1%, you can't say कि you are a joint venture company. It's a joint venture. Venturing jointly to start a new company. So this can be a joint venture company. Third, if Microsoft thinks that India is a big market, they can open their own subsidiary. Subsidiary समझते हो ना? हाँ. They can, with the profit of them, they can open a new company here. Microsoft India Private Limited, और ये है भी एक subsidiary operating in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Subsidiary of Microsoft. Subsidiary. ठीक है, समझ गया दोस्तों. 3 routes से FDI can happen. Now, in certain cases, जैसे joint venture they prefer, in certain cases subsidiary they prefer. किस केस में joint venture and किस केस में subsidiary? Suppose Microsoft has to open, they want to invest here, they can always go through subsidiary route and start on their own 100%. But if a steel company wants to do FDI here, they generally look for a JV route. The reason is, if a steel company will set up on their own subsidiary, they will have to acquire land, they will have to get all the clearances. Now they are not aware about the ground realities here. So whenever there is land or these clearances requirement, generally they try to find a JV partner, they open a joint venture company and then they do. But software company as such, not major things are required. So software में it can always be through subsidiary route. ठीक है? अच्छा. क्या क्या फिर से? Subsequently, why I said primary market, if a company is bringing in FPO, follow on public offer, company got registered on Bombay Stock Exchange, it released shares to you guys, now company is issuing new shares again, it can again, FDI can come through that route also. Okay? Then, earlier government used to announce that this is FPI limit and this is FDI limit. ठीक है? जैसे suppose government earlier used to say that in education sector, FPIs can invest 10% and FDI can invest this 40%, 50%. Now we don't announce separate limit, we say combined cap. So we don't now say कि FDI limit is this, what we say is कि foreign investment limit is this. Foreign investment limit is this. So if we are saying that foreign investment limit is 51%, it can be FDI or FPI both. So now we announce a combined limit. And still there were confusion regarding what should be considered FDI, what should be considered FPI. So to clear this confusion, government has given a statement that if a company has less than 10% investment of foreign investment, it will be considered foreign portfolio, and if it has more than 10%, it will be considered foreign direct investment. So the limit that was is 10%. Yeah, doesn't matter. So on, see, qualitative difference that you just understood, it is fine, that is still correct. Just to clear confusion, government said that if the investment is 10%, less than 10%, we will treat it as FPI, and if it is more than 10%, we will treat it as FDI for all its information and accounting purpose. देखो अमेज़न जो है, अमेज़न तो सब्सिडियरी रूट है जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, ठीक है. एंड दिस वॉलमार्ट 75% शेयर्स एक्वायर कर लो. वो अभी आप समझोगे. वॉलमार्ट और फ्लिपकार्ट वाला पूछ रहे, दैट इज एक्विजिशन ऑफ शेयर्स एफडीआई, और वॉलमार्ट के जो शोरूम खुले हैं, रिटेल की बात कर रहे हो आप, तो फर्स्ट यू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट इज द पॉलिसी ऑफ एफडीआई इन रिटेल, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू नो कि कैसे खुले. हाँ, it will be treated for government's information probably 10% से कम है. So if the question comes that FDI generally happens in primary market, true है. FDI is stable, true. FDI is long term, true. FDI management, it's all true. Government, जैसे suppose in any company the investment is 5%, then government for its information purpose treats it as FPIs. If it will cross more than 10%, we will treat it as FDIs. But all qualitative difference remains. स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट समझते हो, बताए थे ना. हाँ, सो व्हाट इज योर डाउट? स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट, if Air India government sells 75% to a foreign investor, then it is FDI and it is strategic disinvestment both. Both are not mutually exclusive. इसमें से कोई ये क्यूपी नहीं अटेंड कर रहा है? आप कर रहे हो? एक दिन किए थे. हाँ, आज लास्ट है. क्या चीज? हमें भी अभी क्लास लेना वहाँ 5 to 9. नहीं, दोनों करेंगे तो कोई सेंस ही नहीं बनता है. इधर यू शुड डू दिस और दैट. There are two terms that you should know. external commercial borrowing and global depository receipts. ECB, borrowing for commercial purpose from external sources. You write a statement. An Indian company, government or private, an Indian company, government or private, raising debt finance from abroad, raising debt finance from abroad, raising debt finance from abroad. So you have written Indian company, government or private. It is for companies, PSUs or private, not for government. When government of India borrows from abroad, it is just called government of India's external borrowing. This term is used only for companies' commercial purpose. ठीक है? PSUs or private company. And this term is opposite of it. इसमें क्या होता है? Indian companies, government or private, raising equity finance from abroad. Indian companies, Indian companies, government or private, raising equity finance from abroad. ठीक है? So both are similar. This is about debt and this is about equity. This is about debt and this is about equity. But in both the cases, companies raise money from abroad. इसमें by issuing debt paper, इसमें by issuing equity paper. What are एक और समझ लो मसाला बॉन्ड्स. मसाला बॉन्ड्स में आप लोग बहुत इंटरेस्टेड रहते हो. ऐसा लगता है बस कुछ स्पाइसी आ ही जा रहा प्लेट में आपको. So through masala bonds we raise money in Indian rupee or foreign currency? गलत. सुने हो ना, अभी समझे नहीं हो आप. इधर बोर्ड पे देखो आप. Suppose right now the exchange rate is $1 is equal to rupees 70. So Indian company raised money from abroad, $1 billion. ठीक है. It converted into rupees 70 billion. It invested in India, and suppose it earned 10% profit. So it will become rupees 77 billion. Now when it has to return in 2019, rupee has depreciated. So 10% profit which the company made, even by that they will not be able to repay that. So they are totally gone. Profit तो हुआ नहीं and they have lost. Because Indian company are raising money in dollar, they are converting into rupee, and then they again have to pay in dollar. This problem happens whenever we raise money in a different currency and we have to convert it into, because our business into different currency. This problem is going to happen. Now to resolve this problem, what we said is masala bonds. So now what we do is in 2018, 2019, $1 is equal to rupees 70. Now when Indian company is raising money, $1 billion, ठीक है, $1 billion we raised. So we are giving them a paper not of $1 billion but rupees 70 billion. Earlier when we gave them the debt paper or bond paper, it was denominated in dollar. That means we had to pay in dollar. Now we are raising in dollar. but we are giving you a paper as per the exchange rate. See, आज की डेट में, if this is today, whether I give you $1 or rupees 70 doesn't matter. So today we raised in $1 billion, but we gave them the debt paper of rupees 70 billion as per the exchange rate. So we raised money in which currency? Dollar. We raised in dollar, but we gave a debt paper, bond paper, denominated in Indian currency. So we got $1 billion, we converted into rupees, we invested, we got 77 billion rupees. Now if the exchange rate is this, rupees 77 billion, how much we have to repay? We have to pay rupees 70 billion. The conversion will be at their end. So the exchange rate risk will be at their end. We will give in rupees, they have to convert at their end. So exchange rate risk is now with them. For that, they may demand a little bit higher interest rate in case of masala bonds. So earlier, if we were raising ECB at 3%, 4%, now we may have to pay 5%, but the risk is not of us, risk is of them. So we still raise money in dollar, but we give them the debt paper bond denominated in rupees, so that when we are repaying, whatever is written on this, that we have to pay. So through masala bonds, basically exchange rate risk of Indian companies is now protected. That's why I am saying na, ki all those people will give who think that rupee will appreciate. All those people will give who may demand a little bit higher interest rate from us. They can give. ठीक है. The government ने companies issues. Now we have allowed that rupee में we can issue this. ठीक है. So थर्सडे से तो आपकी इवनिंग की क्लास होगी, ठीक है, इकोनॉमी. कल लेट्स सी आपको मेल चली जाएगी कल इकोनॉमी की होगी या क्या होगी, जो भी मोस्ट वाली इकोनॉमी होगी, बट यू विल गेट द मेल. हाँ, अब क्वेश्चन पेपर कल ही हम डिस्कस करेंगे बिकॉज आई हैव अ क्लास एट 5. ठीक है. नहीं अभी और चलेगा, अभी ये बजट में भी कॉन्सेप्ट है. और सी एक चीज मैं बताता हूँ और आप बार बार नहीं पूछना रिगार्डिंग द बुक. आपने मुझे कुछ लोग पूछे ना, जो थर्ड एडिशन है, थर्ड एडिशन मार्केट में आ गई. इट विल नॉट बी गिवन हियर, इट विल नॉट बी गिवन हियर. तो जिसको लेना हो मार्केट से लेना हो, यहाँ से नहीं दिया जाएगा सच. ठीक है, आपको प्रीवियस नोट्स है, देयर आर स्लाइड चेंजेस 30-40 पेजेस जो भी करंट अपडेट है सच. ठीक है, तो